As well?
Yes.
Great. So let's start the session. So welcome to the second session on Raj Yoga. And today we will be looking at major and minor obstacles on the path of meditation. Then we'll be looking from Shloka 7 to 12 and we'll do group practice. So like in the last session of Raja Yoga, we have seen states of mind like Shipta, Vikshipta, Ekagra, and Niruddha. So, why it is so difficult to keep our mind focused and one pointed, and why it keeps fluctuating into Kshipta mode or Vikshipta mode? So, there are various obstacles, distractions, which are explained in Patanjali Yoga Sutras in first chapter, Shloka Sutra number 30. 1.30. So first we'll be looking at 9 major obstacles according to Patanjali Yoga Sutras. What are they? They are Vyadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana, Alabdha Bhumikatva, Anavasthitattvani, Chitta Vikshepaha, Te Antarayaha. So we'll be looking at one by one each of them. So the first one is Vyadhi, which is disease, the physical illness, sickness, or the physical imbalance. Usually, this happens maybe due to the imbalance in Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, the three doshas. Just a minute. Yeah. So because these three doshas are not balanced, there can be disease or pain in the body, feeling of just helplessness because of the chronic pain, you just feel hopeless. So how one can balance it? By focusing on ahara, vihara, achara, vichara. So these are the 4 main principles in order to bring balance in our lifestyle. So ahara means your diet, vihara is your exercise routine or your daily activities, achara is your behavior, your actions, and vichara, your thought patterns and thinking process. The second obstacle is sthana, which is the mental disease. It can be anything. Now we are seeing there is so much of importance given to mental health issues. So it can be right from anxiety, depression, just feeling, not important. So it is basically lack of interest in life which disconnect us from feeling alive and vibrant. The third one is samshaya, which is indecision, doubt, lack of clarity. That doubting mind often weakens our intention and our commitment to our life. The fourth one is pramada, carelessness, negligence, very casual approach, or negligence of one's daily duties. So, as these distractions, these obstacles can affect our day to day life, our physical and mental well being, that can reflect in the practice or in our sadhana of yoga and meditation. Now, the fifth one is alasya, which is laziness, uh, which prevent us from participating in each moment with focus and intention. Then avirati, which is overindulgence, craving, and chasing after our senses without moderation will also keep distracting us from our intention. Then Bhranti Darshana, false views or confused perception, or the wavering, vacillating perspective lead us away from our goals. And Alabdha Bhumikatva, feeling unsettled and without support makes it impossible to find traction on our path. So just feeling of insecurity or inability to be grounded. And then anavasthitattvani. When one feel like we are not connected to something that lasts, uh, it is challenging to find a meaningful objective to move towards, causing us to feel like we are just floundering in an ocean of irrelevant busyness. As a result, intermittent and inconsistent effort keeps us fluttering, inhibiting our progress. These distractions or obstacles tend to band together. So when one is active, it usually attracts other disturbances. So these are the main nine major obstacles uh, we might, face on daily basis in our lives, followed by four minor obstacles, or they can also be said as the symptoms of the previous major obstacles. Dukkha daurmanasya angame jayatva shwasa prashwasa vikshepa sahabhuah. So what is the first one? Dukkha, sorrow, emotional wound. So always dukkha is defined as bad space or space both physically and mentally filled with impurities, most commonly translated as pain and suffering. And then daurmanasya, that is mental distress or negative thoughts. Can you please mute your call? So daurmanasya associated with impure mind, negative frame of mind. Whose call is not on mute? Please mute your call.
Participants in mute.
Just a minute.
Okay.
See all?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is gone now.
Yeah, it is muted. All right. So this negative frame of mind in daily usage, a compelling sense of hatred and dislike. When a man's desires are not fulfilled, a kind of distress is born in his mind. A pricking remains, which is called as daurumanasya. And when we go through such a negative frame of mind for a long period of time, then it starts reflecting in our physical body, maybe palpitations or tremors of the body, restlessness. So this causes shaking and trembling. So hyperactivity of limbs and organs. Disorganized lifestyle, dietary habits, too much involvement in materialistic things leads to a tremor in body parts, which makes it unnatural. And also, it reflects in our breathing, that is shwasa prashwasa. So your breathing is also not regular and disciplined, but it is very short, irregular, haphazard breathing. So that instability instead of stability in mind for any reason has a direct impact on our life force energy and diverts it towards irregular speed of breath or prana. Now all these have to be understood very well and overcome, otherwise we will not be able to steady our mind. In order to do meditation we need that very grounded, focused mind. But because of these distractions and obstacles, our mind keep fluctuating. Again, remember that these are just the instruments for inquiry. So be mindful whether on daily basis you face any of these distractions, then try to work on it. So it's not for finding our faults or self judgment kind of a thing, but looking at your life through these filters, suggest adjustments and changes to work towards your intention and actions in life. Once your life is balanced, organized, that will also reflect in your sadhana or the practice of meditation. So they are very, very important, and we should be very aware of these distractions and try to take small steps and try to overcome them. All right. So after looking at these distractions, now we will look into our 6 Yoga Shlokas. So the Shloka 7th is Samam Kaya Shiro Grivam Dharayanna Chalam Sthiraha Samprekshanasikagram Swam Dishashchanavalokayan. So again, seated firmly on it, that is in your asana, the yogi should strive to purify the mind by focusing it on meditation with one pointed concentration, controlling all thoughts and activities. He must hold the body, neck, and head firmly in a straight line, that is, in the natural curves of the spine, and gaze at the tip of the nose without allowing the eyes to wander. So, one of the best technique in order to bring that one pointedness or focus in our mind is through pratyahara. So in Ashtanga Yoga also, after practicing asana and pranayam, once you are very well established in asana and pranayam, then comes the stage of pratyahara, which is withdrawal of senses. And it begins with two types of main gazing styles, and one of them is here, which is mentioned in this shloka, is Nasikagra Drishti, that is fixing your gaze at the tip of your nose. Similarly, the second type of gazing is called as Bhru Madhya Drishti, means fixing your gaze at the center of your eyebrows. Bhru means your eyebrows and Madhya is the center. The center of your eyebrows, or Nasika, Nasika Agra. Agra means the tip of the nose. So this is not just looking at these two areas of your face, but with that gazing, you should develop that internal mental attitude that start developing a sense of detachment towards the external world, the materialistic world, and start focusing inward. So this happens because the material mind does not initially get as much bliss in contemplation of Ishvara. So why our mind tend to go external? Because whatever through our experiences we have understood that only we can get pleasure when our mind is externally focused, and that's why when you try to do japa or any deity which is on which you are trying to focus your mind, it first resists. This creates the possibility for the mind to overcome restless when focused on Ishvara. For example, we do not find people dozing off halfway through their meals. They are so much aware and enjoying their meals, but we do see people falling asleep during meditation or chanting God's names. How can we make our mind one pointed? As we have seen, fulfill the condition of sitting motionless. So that is the first thing. At physical level, at body, your body should be motionless, erect, and fixing your gaze, and then slowing down your breathing. So these are the certain techniques to make your mind one pointed and focused. And the next one is शनै शनैरुपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्. Very, very important shloka from Bhagavad Gita. Completely renouncing all desires arising from thoughts of the world, one should restrain the senses from all sides with the mind. Slowly and steadily, with conviction in the intellect, the mind will become fixed in God alone and will think of nothing else. So once it is fixed on me, uh, then it won't get distracted again. Shanai, Shanai, very gradually. Don't be in a hurry to proceed. So we'll go into little detail about 3 steps, maybe in the practice of your meditation. So the first part of the practice is taking the mind away from the world. First, that has to be done. If you're closing eyes, sitting motionless, but still your mind is wandering about and thinking about worldly things, people, events, etc., they all come to the mind, and it gets very much attached to the world. The flashes of feelings and ideas still keep coming up. And that mind lead to sankalpa and vikalpa, means whether I should do this, whether I should do that, which create impressions on the mind like the film of a camera exposed to the light. So when we start our meditation practice, something like this happens. So what is the second part? What should be done? The mind should be made to reside upon God, upon Ishvara. He says this will not happen automatically. It is the matter of practice, but with determined effort, success will come slowly, shanai shanai. Now, many people acquire academic knowledge of scriptures about the nature of the self and futility of worldly pursuits, but their daily life is at variance with their knowledge, and they are seen to indulge in sin and intoxication. This happens because their intellect is not convinced yet about that knowledge. We know it, but still it is not happening. Thus, utilizing the intellect, we should take help of the buddhi, the discriminative power. One must gradually see the sensual indulgence. This is called again pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, controlling the mind from running toward the object of senses. Success in pratyahara will not come immediately. It will be achieved through gradual and repeated efforts. And the third part of our sadhana should be with the intellect's power of discrimination, we decide that the world is not our goal. Hence, we forcefully remove the mind from the world. This requires effort. Initially, we need to apply little bit force, little bit, not the force, but the effort, and then it will happen effortlessly. Again, with the power of discrimination, we understand that God is alone, is ours. And God realization, self realization is our goal. Hence, we bring the mind to focus upon God. Again, this requires effort. So, right now, what's happening? The mind is again and again going behind the object of senses about worldly things, because all these years the impressions in the mind are like that. Our anubhava is like that. That whenever our mind goes external, we feel we are going to seek pleasure out of that, and we are so much attached towards that. But now we have to exactly do the opposite thing, means start developing that attachment towards Ishvara, and try to fix your mind for initially for short period, and then slowly gradually you can increase the time of concentration, same as practicing asana. Like initially we can just hold the posture for 30 seconds or up to 1 minute, but gradually we have to increase the period of maintaining the posture, maybe up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as you are training your body, training your breath. Similarly, we have to train our mind and our intellect, mana and buddhi. That mind, that intellect should get fixed onto Ishvara at least for 30 seconds, then 1 minute, up to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, gradually increase the time. The mind comes away from God and wanders back into the world because of its natural tendency. This do not require effort. See, going our mind away from Ishvara into the worldly pleasures is happening effortlessly right now. It happens automatically. When it does wander off, we should once again repeat what we have seen the past part 1 and part 2, step 1 and step 2. Develop a kind of detachment to the external world and develop attachment towards Ishvara. Take the mind away from the world and bring it back to God. Once again, we will experience that step 3 takes place by itself. Then slowly the mind's attachment towards God will start increasing, and simultaneously its detachment from the world will also increase. As this happens, it will become easier and easier to meditate. But in the beginning, we must be prepared for the battle involved in disciplining the mind. So I think by this shloka, um Lord Krishna is trying to, give us that hope that it will happen, but slow and steadily you can definitely progress. And then Shloka 9 says, Prashantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrate sthitah मनः संयम्यमच्चित्तः युक्त आसीत मत्परः. Thus, with a serene, prashanta, serene, fearless, vigatabhihi, and unwavering mind, and staunch in the vow of celibacy, that is brahmacharya, the vigilant yogi should meditate on me, having me alone as the supreme goal. See, here one of the meaning of brahmacharya is celibacy, like brahmachari who has preserved his vital force and energy by the vow of celibacy. Another meaning can be brahmacharya is working toward using one's energy wisely. As we are blessed with this prana shakti, this vital force, we should not waste it in doing unmeaningful things. For example, if we put our energy into things like worrying about the way we look and pushing toward ultimate fitness for looking good rather than health, this would also be considered unwise use of energy. So you need to preserve this vital energy of the physical body, which is so essential for the progress in spiritual path. Keeping the mind attentive and fixed internally, one should meditate on the Supreme Lord. So this is how, again, by practicing asana and pranayam, you can preserve this vital energy, and this energy you can utilize in your meditation practice. Arjuna Uvacha Chanchalam hi manah Krishna Pramathi balavadrudham Tasyaham nigraham manye Vayoriva sudushkaram. Now Arjuna is saying to Lord Krishna, the mind is very restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate. O Krishna, it appears to me that it is more difficult to control than the wind. So here we can see the various characteristics of the mind. It is restless because it keeps flitting in different directions that which shift the state of mind from subject to subject. It is turbulent because it creates upheavals in one's consciousness in the form of hatred, anger, lust, greed, envy, anxiety, fear, attachment, etc. So always we can feel that strong mind when we are under any strong emotion, and it is very stubborn. It because it overpowers the intellect with its vigorous currents and destroys the faculty of discrimination. So when we are under the influence of any strong emotion, even this buddhi uh, cannot work, and it literally destroys the faculty of discrimination. So this is how our mind is, and with this mind, how we can meditate, how we can make our mind one pointed. And for on that, Shri Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येण च गृह्यते. And then what Lord Krishna is saying, O mighty armed son of Kunti. Mahabahu means mighty armed one. He implies, O Arjuna, you defeated the bravest uh, war, or you are the bravest warriors in the battle. Can you not defeat the mind? So he says, the son of Kunti, what you say is correct. The mind is indeed very difficult to restrain. But by practice and detachment, practice is abhyasa, the constant effort, and vairagya, detachment, it can be controlled. So what is the solution in order to control such turbulent, such strong, stubborn, restless mind? Only with these two practices, that is abhyasa and vairagya. Vairagya means detachment. First, in order to uh, do this constant effort or abhyasa, we need to develop the sense of detachment. We observe that the mind runs towards the objects of its attachment, towards the direction it has been habituated to running in the past. The elimination of attachment eradicates the unnecessary wanderings of the mind. And abhyasa means practice or uh, persistent effort to change an old habit and develop a new one. So I think it says that at least you should give yourself 21 days to overcome your old habit and develop a new habit. So give yourself that enough time. Don't feel guilty, don't blame yourself, and just keep practicing. Take the mind away from the world. This is Vairagya. And bring the mind to rest on God. This is by Abhyasa. So, how you can, in order to fix your mind on Ishvara, first you need to take out your mind from the external world. So, these two steps go hand in hand. And then Patanjali says, after that, what you should do is Ishvara Pranidhanadva, means just surrender yourself to Ishvara. You do your job and then surrender. And also he mentions about Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tan Nirodha. So these are the three practices go parallelly. And the last shloka is आत्म आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः. I regard them to be perfect yogis who see the true equality of all living beings and respond to the joys and sorrows of others as if they were their own. We consider, like for example, we consider all the limbs of our body as ours and equally get concerned if any of them is damaged. We can't disagree in the conviction that the harm done to any of our limb is harm done to ourselves. Similarly, those who see God in all beings consider the joys and sorrows of others as their own. Therefore, such yogis are always the well wishers of all souls and they strive for the eternal benefit of all. This is the samadarshana, the equality of vision of a perfected yogi. So, this is one of the example who is a yogi where he sees everyone at same level. All right. Yes, this was the last one. Do you have any questions so far? Shall we do our group practice now? You can unmute yourself. Yeah. So if you are ready, we can start. Samam kaya shiro grivam.
Samam karya
Dharayanna chalam sthiraha. Samprekshanaसिकाग्रं swam. Dishashchanavalokayan. Shanairuparamit. Buddhya dhrutigruhitaya. Atmasamstham manah krutva. Nakinchidapi chintayet. Prashantatma vigatabhihi. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha. Manas sanyamyamachittaha. Yukta asita matparaha. Arjuna uvacha. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. Pramathi balavadrudham. Tasyaham nigraham manye. Vayoriva sudushkaram. श्रीभगवानुवाच
Shri Bhagavan
असंशयं महाबाहो
Asayam Manaho
मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम्
Purni
अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय
Abhyasena Kaunteya
वैराग्येण च गृह्यते आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः Very good. Shall we go once again? Oh.
Yes.
All right. समं काय शिरो ग्रीवम् धारयन्नचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रं स्वम् दिशश्चानवलोकयन् शनैः बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत् प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभीः ब्रह्मचारिव्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः अर्जुन उवाच चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्णा प्रमाथी बलवदृढम् तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करम्
वायुदेव सुरं
श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
असंशयं महाबाहो
असंशयं
मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम्
मनो
जलम्
अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येण च गृह्यते आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र
आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र
समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन
समं पश्यति अर्जुन
सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखम्
सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं
स योगी परमो मतः
स योगी परमः
Very nice. Anyone wants to go for individual practice? Anyone want to try?
Yes, I want to try.
Yeah. One minute. Oh.
Shall I start?
Yes.
Which? Okay. Whatever is on the screen, no?
Yes, from Shloka 7.
Samam kaya shiro grivam धारयन्यचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रेक्षनासिकाग्रं दिशश्चानवलोकयन्.
Correct. It is Sampreksha Nasikagram Swam.
सम्प्रेक्षनासिकाग्रं स्वं दिशश्चानवलोकयन्.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to go for the next one?
Yeah, next one. Not this one. Other one.
Acha, afterward, this one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिरः
Vigata bhihi. So there we are breaking the word. Vigata bhihi.
विगतभिर, no?
Yeah. So we are just splitting that word. Vigata bhihi brahmaschari vrate sthitah.
विगतभिः.
Yeah.
Okay. प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिः ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्यमाचितः युक्त आसित मत्परः.
So machittah. So that cha is you have to give little more emphasis on that. Yeah. Manas sanyamya machittah. And that C is dirgha. So yukta asita matparaha.
Okay, second line.
Yeah.
मनः संयम्यमश्चित्तः युक्त आसीन मत्परः.
Asita.
युक्त आसीत मत्परः.
Good. That's great. Any other shloka?
Last one.
It's not changing. You want the last one, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः.
Excellent. Thank you. So anyone else? You have got any questions or do you want to practice any shloka? Let me know.
Ketki, shall I recite the remaining one?
Yes.
7,
You want?
8, whatever was not recited.
Yeah. So I think the 8th one.
Yeah, I will try. Yeah. Shanai Shanairuparameda
Ruparamit. So
Dhruti
here we are breaking the word. Shanai Shanai Ruparamit Buddhya Dhruti Gruhitaya.
Shanai Shanairuparameda Buddhya Dhruti Gruhitaya Atmasauस्थं Manak Krutva Na Kinchit Api Chintayet.
Very good. This we did.
Rasha. Okay. Arjuna Uvacha Chanchalam hi Mana Krishna Ramathi Balavadrudham Tasyaham Nigraham Manye Vayoriva Sudushkaram.
Very good.
Sri Bhagavanuvāca Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihate.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah. All right. Anyone?
I'll do number 12, KT.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukham sayogi paramo mataha.
Excellent. Only this shloka, Wendy?
Okay, I'll pick another one.
Which one you want to pick up?
I'll try this 10.
Okay.
Arjuna Uvacha Changchalang hi mana Krishna Ramati balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayor iva sudushkaram.
Yeah, so the word is Vayo River.
Tasyaham nigraham manye vayor iva sudushkaram.
Yeah, Vayo River Sudushkaram.
Vayor iva sudushkaram.
Yes, excellent. This one? Yeah.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asangshayang mahabhaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena chagrihyate.
Excellent. So only the word is Mahabahu, not Bhaho. So Mahabahu.
Mahabhaho.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Anyone else can see Ashwini, Subhadra ma'am, Madhavi. Anyone wants to try? Penny. Or do you have any questions? All right.
Ketki, I have a question. I mean, it may not be a question.
Huh.
It's just a broad. Is there a definition for Ishwar in the Gita?
Definition of Ishvara.
Yes.
See, I haven't learned the entire Bhagavad Gita, but so that I cannot pinpoint any particular shloka here. But as I'm studying the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, they have brought in the concept of Ishvara. So here, when we like study Vedanta or this thing, it has got the no form and no name. All right, that Nirguna form, but only in yoga they have given it as a concept of Ishvara.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
So you may call it anything. It can be the higher power, supreme being, Brahman.
Okay. So everywhere where it is yoga or Brahman or Ishvara, it refers to the same thing.
Yes, it
In
refers to the same thing. So in yoga, especially, it is given the name of Ishvara.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, when you study Vedanta, it's always the Brahman.
Yeah. Yeah. Answers the question to a certain extent. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you. And feel free if you like, any one of you want to add on something or say something, just feel free to share your thoughts. Because in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, they have explained that the one who is limitless, same like in Vedanta or Sankhya Yoga, Purusha, Brahman, this is limitless. And why we have to seek Ishvara or Brahman? Because we are limited. He is without any form, name, shape, color, any limitations. He is free of everything. And that's why we should seek Ishvara or Brahman or Purusha. So these are the ways they have explained the concept of Brahman or the concept of Ishvara, which is all pervading, omniscient. So that is Ishvara. And he is unaffected. So I cannot give you a particular definition, but I can give you the characteristics of Brahman or Ishvara. who is unaffected, limitless, omniscient, all-pervading, formless, nameless. That supreme power is Ishvara. But we have got name, form, limits. We get affected with anything. We come under the influence of any situation, person, emotion, feeling. That's how we are in a limited, or we are using our limited potential. So from limited to limitless is the journey. From affected to unaffected.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Katie. It's just so that, you know, when you're chanting, if you are saying something, it's more effective if you can feel it or imagine it. So I was just wondering, it's more effective if you can actually feel it or imagine it. I was wondering if there was somewhere, because I have never read the Gita.
Correct. See, because it is very hard to get connected with something which is formless, which is nameless, and that's why the concept of Saguna Ishvara comes, and that's why we, say that there are so many deities, there are so many the object of worship. See, you can worship the stone as well, only if you can, see all these characteristics in that stone. Because that stone is also the part of Ishvara. The tree is also the part of Ishvara. But only when we look at Ganpati or Rama or Krishna, we can easily get connected. But the power behind that, again, name and form is Nirguna.
Yeah. Thank you.
So initially you need the name and form, but ultimately it should go beyond name and form. From Saguna to Nirguna. Yeah.
Because, Keki, because it is beyond name and form.
Yeah.
So the forms are limited and the absolute or the Nirguna is limitless.
Correct. Yes. And that's why the whole sadhana is to develop that attachment towards the Ishvara. And then what Patanjali is saying is Ishvara Pranidhana. Then what you have to just do, self-surrender. It very easy to listen or read. When we read in the books, we feel, oh, that's so easy, we can just do it now. But when it comes to practice, it's very, very hard. Why? Because of asmita, ahankar. We have got this ahankar, the I amness. In order to surrender, you have to surrender ahankara. You have to surrender asmita. And for that, you should be always fixing your mind on Ishvara, then only it will happen. You should always, and that's why you need to read scriptures. Through that, you will come to know the vastness, the importance of Ishvara, the Brahman, the absolute, whatever you call it, whatever image you have in your mind. You should know the importance of it and how he is different, or that concept is different from all of us. That's why we seek Ishvara. That's why we seek the unity between us and that Brahman. The whole sadhana is about that.
And the chanting,
with
stabilizing your mind, just the words is quite helpful.
Yes, when you chant, your mind is now fixed only on those words, on those mantras, and all the other thoughts are eliminated. So now you're streaming your mind in one direction, channelization of your mind, of your thoughts. and then that mind is ideal to go into the higher states of meditation, that is samadhi. So when you go into the state of samadhi, even that name, that image, whatever you have in your mind, again you have to let go of that thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So similarly, as we are taking the help of name and form, we are taking the help of mantra, japa. But then once you progress onto that path, you have to let go of that name, that form, that mantra even. Why? Because that concept is formless, nameless. Initially, we need that tool to practice. Great. Thank you for that question. And thank you everyone for joining in today's session. And keep practicing these shlokas at your convenient time. And I will soon put all the recordings, and we'll see you next month. All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
again,
Thank you
Katie.
so much.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
all
thank
of
you,
all
Katie,
take
ma'am.
care.
Thank you, Katie.